If you want to start, you can start.
Okay, I couldn't hear anyone. Okay. How's everyone who do? We have a small crowd today. Erev Pesach. Everyone is bezig met de chommels, met de matzah. Okay. Rafos, de eerste shiur? Okay, so let's just do today. Mayor, Turner, Mr. Jacobs. Mayor, I don't see Mayor. Oh, I see the pussy. That's good. Okay. Mayor, you there? Mayor Solomon? Don't see him. Okay. Maybe he left his computer on. Or he's gone. Okay. So let's first of all let's continue where we were doing last week. A very interesting halacha, and then we'll do something new for this week. Halacha for Pesach, and also something very interesting on the Seder. So last week we started a discussion. It was like this. Some people go away for Pesach, and therefore they will rent a place, a house, or in Israel, people sometimes do a house swap. I give you my house, and you give me your house for Pesach. Nice to have a change. People do that a lot in Eretz Yisrael in the summer holidays. Less for Pesach, but people still do that. Okay, so the question we asked last week was like this. What would happen if you rented a house for Pesach, let's say this year, from Friday till Monday after Pesach, 10 days you rent a house. So we said you pay €100 a day, so you'll pay €1,000. The example we gave last week was someone rents Mr. Jacob's house. That's what we said. Okay, so now the contract says from Friday, Erev Pesach, until Monday, the day after Yom Tov. So it's 10 days for €1,000. And now you come into the house on Friday and you see that there is still chometz in the house. Mr. Jacob did not prepare the house for Pesach properly. What are you going to do? So the first thing that you want to do is phone up the owner of the house, Mr. Jacobs, and tell him, hey, I'm not paying you €1,000. I am not staying in your house for Pesach. I want to cancel the contract right now. I am not staying here and I'm not paying you. Says Mr. Jacobs, no. It wasn't written clearly in the contract that I will make sure it is clean for Pesach. It just says that I will rent out my house from Friday till Monday. Who is going to clean it for Pesach? We didn't discuss. So the Gemara in Pesachim Daf Dalet has this discussion, exactly this discussion. Someone who rents a house, let me see if I can quickly bring up the Gemara with you. That's what we left off last week. It was a Gemara in Pesachim Daf Dalet. Hold on, give me a minute, and I'll see if I can bring up the Gemara for you. So there's the Gemara. Hold on a second. Talmud Pesachim Daf Dalet Amud Beis, I think it is. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to do a screen share. Where are we? Yeah, I'm going to share my screen, and then you can see the Gemara. We can see the Gemara together. Okay, you should see my screen, and we can see this Gemara with translation. Is the Gemara in Pesachim, Daf Daled Omid Beis, 4b. It says the Gemara in the middle of the page, Iboya Lehu. Iboya Lehu means the Gemara has a dilemma, a question. Hamaskir bayis lechaveroi, bechezkas boduk. Someone who rents out his house, and it's presumed, probably, the house has been cleaned for Pesach. That means we didn't discuss it clearly, but there was a self-understanding that this house was going to be ready for Pesach. And now you discovered, you came into the house on Friday, she'enei boduk, the house is not ready for Pesach. Says the Gemara, Mahu. What is the halacha? Mi have kemekachtos or loy? Is the contract considered to be a mistake? Or loy? If it's a mekachtos, meaning to say that the whole contract was a mistake, therefore, if I am the one renting the house, I could say this was a mekachtos, the whole transaction was a mistake, and therefore I'm not paying you 1 penny, and I am going out. Or no, or perhaps you can say, no, I'm giving you the house, and who's going to be responsible for cleaning it for Pesach? We didn't discuss. What is the halacha? Says the Gemara, very, very interesting. Says the Gemara like this. Toshma. Come and hear. The Oma Abaya. Abaya says, Loi mi boya. Not only ba'asra de lo yohavi agra uvdaku. Not only ba'asra means in the place. The lo yohavi agra uvdaku, where one does not pay money in order to clean the house. And says the Gemara, a person should clean it himself. Why? Here comes the main point. Says the Gemara like this. Danicha lei leinish lekiyumei mitzvah begufei. A person is happy to do a mitzvah. Again, danicha lei leinish lekiyumei mitzvah begufei. A person is happy to do a mitzvah with his body. So that means cleaning your house for Pesach is a mitzvah. So even though I came into Mr. Yaakov's house and it was his chometz, but since part of the mitzvah for me is to make sure that I am not in a place where it's chometz around me over Pesach, and even though the chometz is not mine, but since by me getting rid of Mr. Yaakov's chometz or putting it away in the cupboard, I am doing a mitzvah, so a person is happy to do a mitzvah. So even though I'm upset on the one hand that the house wasn't ready like I wanted it to be ready, but since what I need to do is to put away his chometz, what I am doing is a mitzvah. Says the Gemara, a person is happy to do a mitzvah. A person should not complain when he has a mitzvah to do. Therefore, the transaction, the agreement between me and Mr. Jacobs is not a mistake, and I have no right to walk out. I have to pay, and I should clean the house for Pesach. Says the Gemara even more. Says the Gemara like this.
I'm not totally agree with this. Okay, good. Go further.
Says the Gemara.
No.
I'll tell you something even more. You'll see what the Gemara says.
No, I think if I give a house for Pesach, I have to be sure that it's for Pesach. I have to clean it for Pesach.
Of course you should.
Yeah, I should.
100% you should. But here's the question is, if you didn't do what you should do.
No, it's not... okay.
You didn't do what you should do. Okay, you didn't do what you should do. You're right. But in order for me not to pay you €1,000, I have to have the right to be able to say this whole contract, this whole transaction was a mistake. If I come to your house, Erev Pesach, and I say, I don't like the color of the table. The table is
stupid man.
A stupid man.
Sorry.
Exactly. Or I say, I don't like, you got a small fridge. I need for Yom Tov, I'm coming with a big family.
That's your problem. That is your problem.
Okay, so we have to know, sometimes there's so many different things that are, some things are written clearly and some things are not written clearly. So the Gemara's question is, if cleaning the house for Pesach was not written in clearly, of course, I prefer that the house is ready for Pesach, but the question is, if there was chametz around, and now I have to put away your chametz, does that give me enough of a right to walk out and say, I am not paying you €1,000? We made the contract, made the deal. I'm going to pay you €1,000 for 10 days. And now you're going to lose €1,000. Because you forgot to put away your chametz, is that enough for me to say, I'm not paying you €1,000 and I'm going home? Says the Gemara, a very interesting thing. Says the Gemara, when I am putting away your chametz, I am doing a mitzvah. You're right, I didn't look to do mitzvahs now on Erev Pesach, but I am doing a mitzvah because I have an obligation to make sure that when I am, wherever I am for Pesach, there should not be chametz around me. Even if the chametz is not mine. You can't come to my house and put chametz on my table. Why? Because I have to make sure on my table there's no chametz, even if it's not mine. So when I come to your house Erev Pesach and there's chametz around and I am putting it away, I am doing a mitzvah also. Maybe you should have done it. But now that I am there and I want to, this is where I'm going to be, I should make sure there's no chametz. That is a mitzvah. Says the Gemara, a person should be happy to do mitzvahs.
Yeah.
1 second. A person should be happy to do mitzvahs, and therefore it's not enough to be able to say contract cancelled. Says the Gemara, I'll tell you, if you're not happy with that, wait till how the Gemara goes even further. Says the Gemara, the next line. Ella, in the middle over here, Ella, afilu ba'asra, even in a place, the Yohavi Agra Ubdaku, where it would cost me money to pay someone to come now for an hour and clean the house. So I walk into your house and it costs me now, I have to pay a cleaner €30 to come and get rid of your chametz. Says the Gemara,
Who's paying?
who's paying? Says the Gemara, listen, I tell you what the Gemara says. I can only read you out what the Gemara says. Says the Gemara, a person is happy to pay money to do a mitzvah. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing, and then you'll see. So now, see, if you weren't happy with that, you're going to for sure not be happy with this, right?
Yeah. But I have to do the mitzvah before I leaving. But
Correct.
Chametz.
You shouldn't. Correct. But you didn't do your mitzvah. The fact that you didn't do your mitzvah,
I'm fault.
You're right. You should have done
the mitzvah.
But okay, but let's say, in this situation where you did not do your mitzvah properly, and now I am stuck, right?
Yeah.
I am stuck, meaning to say I am in a place. Let's say you come to my house before Pesach. Today you come to my house and you leave a whiskey on my table.
Yeah.
And it's yours, and you forgot to take it home. And it comes now, Pesach night, your whiskey is on my, or Erev Pesach, your whiskey is on my table. It's not mine, it's yours. Now, you said you were going to come on Friday to fetch it. And you didn't. You didn't come on Friday to fetch it. So now, what's going to happen? Very nice that you said, hold on 1 second, just my daughter's here. Hold on a second. Okay, sorry. Okay, so let's say again, You came to my house today and you left your whiskey on my table. And I phone you up and I say, Mr. Jacobs, your whiskey's on my table. So you tell me, no problem, I'm going to come to fetch it. Okay, you haven't come, you didn't come. Friday, it's now after 12 o'clock, you didn't come to fetch your chametz. Whose problem is it?
You can throw it away because you rent the house.
I can throw it away? I can throw it in the garbage?
Yeah.
I won't say, no, I can't throw it in the garbage. I have to put it away.
No, put it away.
I can't empty it into the sink. I can either give it to the neighbor, or I don't know if I can destroy it. I have to make sure that it's not anywhere. I have to put it away. Either put it in the cupboard away or put it in the place where it doesn't belong to.
If I make a contract and I forgot to get it away, then there's no problem. You can set it somewhere, but I make a contract. Nothing is for me.
Okay, so let's. Oh, one second. So in the case where you came to my house and you didn't come to fetch your whiskey, who's and now it's Friday. Whose problem is it? Yours or mine?
I make a contract.
No,
the
but
whiskey is not any more for me.
But one second. Before you made the contract, easier case. You left your whiskey on my table. It's not mine. I am not the owner of this whiskey.
Then that's my whiskey.
It's your whiskey. And I phone you up on Friday and I say, you still have not come. I'm coming. Okay, now it's 12 o'clock. After Sreifa, after beer, after Badika, I have your whiskey on my table. Okay, you have not yet come. Whose problem is it?
I didn't come. I said, you can throw it away. You did your best.
You didn't tell me to throw away. If you tell me to throw away, I throw away.
No, I didn't come. And you didn't hear anything from me.
You said you're coming and you didn't come.
Yeah, I'm coming, but I'm not coming.
You're coming and you're not coming, both.
Okay, I'm not coming.
So I have a problem now. Why do I have a problem? Because I am not allowed to have your whiskey on my table.
No.
So you said you were going to come. Very nice. Because you didn't keep to your word, I have a problem because I am not allowed to have your chametz on my table. So the fact that you didn't do your word, I have a problem with my Pesach. Now that's an easy case. What happens if you have whiskey, you have cookies, you have 10 bottles of whiskey, a whole load of your things in my house, and you said you're going to come and you didn't come? The same problem, right? It's just a bit bigger.
No, same problem. One bottle of 10 bottles, the same problem.
Yeah, but it's more work. Now I have 10 bottles and 20 packets of cookies of yours in my house, and you didn't come. What do I have to do now on Friday? I have to pack it up and put it away.
Yeah, I told you.
My problem, unfortunately, that you didn't come and fetch it. You should have come and fetched it. But now that you didn't, I can't just say on Pesach night, it's not my problem. It's Mr. Jacobs. He didn't come to fetch his problem.
Another question.
I can't say that.
You made also a contract, yes? And now you are in my house and you rent my house, and I think everything what is in my house is yours now.
No, I don't want to buy your chametz for Pesach. Thank you very much. I'm not a guy. I don't want to buy chametz. I'm making a contract to rent your house. I'm not making a contract to buy your chametz. You're going to sell your chametz to the guy. Yeah, Mr. Yaakov. Mr. Van Praag, you asked a question?
Why don't you make a mitzvah of your problem?
Yeah.
When you say that you can make a mitzvah by throwing away the chametz of somebody else in case you rent the house, why don't you make a mitzvah of this problem? Because when it is not being picked up, so it is left behind. So you could even say it is hefker, because no one can use it anymore. No one can eat or drink it anymore because it's after the time. Then why not?
Because even if chametz is
it's the same like I say
in your house where it's available, you should I shouldn't even see it, and it shouldn't be around. It should be put in the cupboard in a way. So I have his whiskey on my table and cookies in my house, which he didn't fetch. I have to put it away, even if he told it, and even if he made a hefker, I still have to put it away. Now, Erev Pesach, I am stuck because he didn't come to fetch it. The same thing would be if I rent his house and he didn't put his own chametz away. I rented his house. I am stuck now, Erev Pesach, in Mr. Yaakov's house because he didn't put his chametz away. I cannot have his chametz around the house. Even if it doesn't belong to me, I can't have it. It should be put away. So now, after Erev Pesach, I come to the house and I see his chametz is around. And I have to start now spending half an hour putting away his chametz. The question is, does that give me enough of a right to cancel the contract? We see in the case where Mr. Jacobs put his whiskey in my house, I can't just say it's not mine and it's his problem.
And nobody can use it after Pesach, not you, not me.
If you didn't sell it. If you sold it, then yes. I'm talking about even in a case where you sold your chametz in your house.
When I sold it, it's okay. Only
but no, but I can't have chametz around. If you sold it, it's okay for after Pesach.
Okay, no, I didn't sell it. I didn't sell, and you did it. The chametz is, you can't use it after Pesach. Nobody, not me, not you.
Only if you did not sell it. If you sold it,
yeah, I say I did.
Okay, so
if I sell it, it is no problem.
If you sell it, no problem. But the question
then you can set it in a cupboard. I think so.
But even if you sold your chametz, if I'm using the house, the chametz should not be around. Let's say I sold my whiskey. I can't put my.
I can make a mistake, and I'm not in Amsterdam. I'm in Honolulu. I don't know. I can't come. And I think you can. I sold that whiskey, and you can put it somewhere after Pesach.
Okay, very good. So now you sold all your chametz.
I sold my chametz.
Your whole chametz.
I sold my chametz. Only I forgot to remove it.
You forgot to put it all away. And I come to your house now, and I have to spend half an hour putting away your chametz. I'm not interested. So can I cancel the contract?
No, I don't think so. You can't go a half hour for Pesach somewhere else. There's also a problem.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But if I have somewhere to go, and I come to you and say, hey, you did not put your chametz away. I don't want to be busy now putting away your chametz. I want to cancel the contract and bye-bye. I'm not paying you one penny. I'm walking out of the house.
Okay.
Is the fact that you didn't put your chametz away enough for me to cancel the contract? Says the Gemara, no, I cannot cancel the contract. Why not? Even though it's understood that I want to, if I'm renting the house from you for Pesach, it's understood that the house should be ready for Pesach. Right? You are a Jew, I am a Jew, you and I know that chametz is forbidden on Pesach, even to have around, you shouldn't have it. So if I'm renting your house from 12 o'clock on Erev Pesach, it's understood that it's a chametz free house.
Mm-hmm.
Or since it's a mitzvah for me to make sure that there's no chametz around the house, even if it's chametz that does not belong to me. Even if it's chametz that Mr. Jacobs has sold to the goy, but still, I should not have accessible chametz in a house or in a place where I'm staying. Part of the mitzvah is to put it away. So says the Gemara, since by me putting away Mr. Jacobs is chametz, I am doing a mitzvah because I am doing bidika. I am making sure that there's no chametz around the house that's accessible. During the time that I'm staying there, I'm doing a mitzvah. Says the Gemara, since I am doing a mitzvah, that is not enough to be able to cancel a contract. And says the Gemara, even more, even if it cost me 10 euro to ask someone to help me put away his chametz, to help put it in the cupboard, put it into a box, put it out of the house, that it shouldn't be around during the time.
So let me show you. So here we have the.
Someone joining our shit?
No. It was something.
Okay. Says the Gemara. Therefore, I'm not allowed to cancel the contract. It's very, very interesting Gemara. But even though Mr. Yaakov might have been wrong, he should have put it away. He knows that I don't want to have chametz around. And even though it's not my chametz, but since I have to make sure that there's no chametz around, and it's a mitzvah to make sure the house is clean and ready for Pesach, therefore, what Mr. Yaakov has left me is a mitzvah. Not a mitzvah I was looking to do right now. But still, it happens to be what I'm going to do is a mitzvah. If what you're left to do is the mitzvah, you have no right to cancel the contract. Maybe I can speak to him and say it was wrong what you did. But in order to say something is a mekach tois, that the whole contract was a mistake, you have to have a good enough reason. Says the Gemara, if you're left with the mitzvah, it's not a good enough of a reason to say that the contract is a mekach tois. It was a mistake. What is interesting to finish off this nakuda is, and that is, we know that imagine a person comes into a shul and he has not got his tefillin with him. And he sees a pair of tefillin on the table. And the owner of the tefillin is not around. Am I allowed to use someone's tefillin that are lying around in the shul? So again, I walk into shul, I don't have my tefillin with me. I see a pair of tefillin on the table. The owner is not there. I don't know who it is. There's no number. There's no full name. No way of contacting the owner right now. And I want to put on tefillin today. And I see a pair of tefillin in shul. Am I allowed to put on that pair of tefillin without contacting the owner? What do you say?
Yes.
Why? It's not mine.
No, but I remember it was real. Somebody forgot his tefillin in JCC, and we looked in all the cupboards, and there was one cupboard we found tefillin, and he laid the tefillin.
One second, there was someone else's tefillin?
Yeah, I think so. Yes, we look all the cupboards of some tefillin was in one of the cupboards,
and they used it.
And he used it.
Yeah. So what happened? So he just used it.
He used it filling, and afterwards we put it back. Then the tefillin also was used instead once a year, maybe.
Okay. So that's what happened. So someone who doesn't really use his tefillin.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what happens. So what happens even if it's someone who uses the tefillin every day? What happens if someone uses tefillin every day? And now someone who uses tefillin every day. And now I want to use the tefillin. What can happen?
No.
Am I allowed? Am I allowed to?
No, then you have to ask the owner of the phone. The owner, I use it finished. Okay.
Oh, okay. That's
the only tefillin you can use is the tefillin in a set belonging to the shul, and you have to ask admission to the gabbai, for instance, or the rabbi.
Okay, so this I'm talking about where it's not tefillin from the shul; it's a person's private pair of tefillin.
No, then leave it over there. You don't know where he is. He could come back within a minute. You don't know.
He could come back in a minute, but so I don't know what to do. I walk into a shul.
You can ask him. Maybe he put already tefillin on. Then you can ask him, "Can I use your tefillin because I forgot mine?"
So I can't get a hold of him, and I don't know what to do. I have not put on tefillin today. I want to know: am I allowed to put on tefillin? So the question is: either there's no tefillin today, or there's tefillin from someone else without asking him.
But isn't that the same situation as stealing an esrog?
Whoa, that is a very good question. Maybe yeah, maybe no. We'll see.
That's a very good answer.
No, because we'll see. We'll see. The thing is like this, because esrog might be different than tefillin. Why? Because by tefillin, the halacha is like this. The same as we just now said in the Gemara in Pesachim about Bedikas Chometz, that I can't cancel the contract because since I am left with a mitzvah to do, a person is happy to spend money or to spend time on a mitzvah. Therefore, the same thing applies if I leave my tefillin in shul from one day to the next, and I did not put it in a cupboard or put it on a shelf away. I left it on the table in shul. I'm especially saying this because if I put it away in a cupboard, it means I care more and I don't want anyone to touch it. I left it on a table in a place where people will come. Now, the halacha is a person is happy for his belongings to be used as a mitzvah as long as there is no damage caused to my belonging.
His own mitzvah. He should be happy doing his own mitzvah, not with somebody else doing the mitzvah without having.
So this is the thing. A person is happy for his belongings to be used as a mitzvah.
As his mitzvah.
No, even more than that. Even if it's going to allow someone else to do a mitzvah through my belongings.
Yeah, you speak about allow, but no one asked him.
But there's something which is good. Let's go back to the Gemara we just said in Pesachim.
But what I would do when I would use that, when I wanted to use that set of tefillin because I forgot mine, I could do two things. I could buy them or I can hire them. Well, I can put some money on the table and use the tefillin for the service and put the tefillin back and take the money back in case it is not taken.
I know, but over here it's someone else's tefillin. You can't get hold of him. And now you have a question. Am I allowed to use his tefillin without asking him? It's on the table. I'm not thinking about taking it out, going into his house in the middle of the night.
I don't think you are. Especially not because you suppose that the tefillin are all right. Suppose that the tefillin are not all right, that they are not kosher.
Okay, but that is something where we have a something which is called a chazaka. I mean, we take on, it's okay, unless you know for sure it's not okay. If your tefillin, how can you put on your tefillin today? Maybe it's not kosher.
Well, normally you have your tefillin checked.
Okay,
right.
you had it checked yesterday?
Not yesterday, no.
Not yesterday. Okay, so how do you put it on today? Maybe today's not kosher.
You don't know the character of the tefillin. You don't know that. So even the story of Paul, when a person uses a set of tefillin, maybe used once a year, you don't know whether they are kosher or not.
You don't know. You don't know, and you don't know if your mitzvah.
You know, apparently there's a set of tefillin. You don't know whether it is paper or parchment or whatever. You don't know that.
And you don't know if your mitzvah is also kosher.
No, either.
You don't know. So how can you rely? So maybe you should have your mitzvah checked every day.
Maybe there are persons who are doing so. I think that's a little bit overdone, but okay, can be done.
It can be done, but are you obligated to do that?
No.
No. Why not?
Because you are obligated to let it be checked or to check it yourselves on a regular basis, but the basis is not defined in a period of time, let's say in a year or 2 years or 3 years. But I know that people let the mezuzahs check, for instance, when there has been a very bad climate situation, when there has been very heavy rains and everything was wet, and the risk would exist that water could enter the contents of the mezuzahs. Then you have to check it. Yes.
You're right. Okay, that's the outdoor, where it's got more of a chance of getting wet. Let's see the inside your house, on your door inside the house.
Normally,
check once in 5 years. Check a person who doesn't check more than once in 7 years.
No.
Okay, one check and the other check. Maybe it became possible.
But the only thing you know from the tefillin left in the shoe is that apparently is a kosher set of tefillin. You're not sure. You don't know to who it belongs. You don't know what the origin is. You don't know anything. And you don't give any.
No, the same way as I don't have tefillin no kosher.
And you don't check anything back for the use. So that's why I say either you buy it and you put a lot of money instead of the tefillin, or you rent it and then the lot of money.
If I rent it, doesn't make it more kosher.
No, correct. But then you have at least done something to tell the owner of the tefillin in case he would come back. I'm sorry, but you were not there, and I thought it would be free for use. I rented it for a certain time, and then I give it back to you. That's it.
But I can't rent something from you without getting your permission.
So when you cannot rent it from me, how can you use it then without permission?
So that's why I was saying that. But that's why. Once we're going to explain to you why I can use it without permission, then I don't even have to come on to renting it. I'm allowed to use it without permission. Therefore, I don't even have to rent it. Rent
You
it
say I'm allowed without permission. I am allowed to use the tefillin without permission.
on one or two conditions, but the answer is yes.
Okay.
Now, why is the answer yes? Because we saw a Gemara that says a person is happy for his belongings to be used as a mitzvah. But. That's why when I said the example, I said the tefillin are lying around in the shul. That means, obviously, if you left it around, some people leave the tefillin on the shul, some people take them home, some people put it in a cupboard, some people put it on a shelf. Now, in generally speaking, those who put it in the cupboard are more careful about leaving the tefillin around. People take them home every day, even though they daven every day in a shul or they daven every day in the school, wherever they daven, they'll still take it back and forwards with them every day because they don't want their tefillin lying around. Some people lock it up in a cupboard, some on a shelf. Many people leave it on the table in the shul on the exact same spot where they davened and leave it there for the next day.
I every day I took my tefillin home, but you never know if you can come the next day.
Not only
That is the reason I take it every day at home.
But it is a risk. It is a risk when you leave the tefillin unguarded in shul. It is a risk. It is your responsibility to take good care of it.
Okay, but in JCC we have cupboards. It could be the cupboard. But I take it at home because you never know if you can come the next morning.
Okay, that is what many people do. Some people, let's say in yeshiva, where you daven every day over there, and your dormitory, the place where you sleep, is in the building next door. So you haven't got a bochrim, they want to be easier, or you have chassidim in the shul where they daven every day in the same shtibel, the same shul. They live next door, or they're not going to daven anywhere else. This is where they leave their tefillin. So some people leave their tefillin on their desk, some people put it on the shelf. Now I walk into a shul and I see a tefillin on the table. Not on the cupboard, not in the shelf, not in someone's bag. On the table, lying around. That happens very, very lot in many, many shuls around the world. And I today have not put on tefillin yet, for whatever reason, and I see a pair of tefillin around.
Then you think it is from, you can think it is from the shul. Because it is
there's a name on it. I don't know. If it's from the shul and it's meant for public use, that's much better. You don't know
from who it is.
I have no idea who it is, and it's very undoubtful that this pair of tefillin is going to belong to the shul. It says a name on it. It's initials. You don't know who the person is. You can't contact him.
Okay.
If there's a name and a contact, obviously you pick up the phone and you call them up. Is it okay if I can use my tefillin? I can use it today. But our question is, in a situation where there's no contact and I cannot get hold of him, and the tefillin are lying on the table, and either I put on tefillin today from someone else without getting hold of him and asking him permission before, or I don't put on tefillin today. What should I do? Better no tefillin or this pair of tefillin which is lying around? The halacha is, if you are going to be careful and there's no message on the tefillin that says don't touch or don't use, or no one's allowed to, you put it on without permission, and you are going to put it back in the same place exactly where you took it from, and it's not going to ruin his pair of tefillin at all, halachically speaking, you are allowed to put on his tefillin. If you're going to damage it, you're going to put it back somewhere else, or you know the owner might be upset, or there's a message on, or it's on the cabinet, or it's on the shelf, or there's some indication that the owner does not want you to touch his tefillin, then you're not allowed to. But if there's no indication whatsoever and it's lying around, and my question is either no tefillin or yes tefillin without asking him, then you are allowed to put on his pair of tefillin. Why? What's the reason for that? It doesn't belong to you. You're not allowed to touch someone else's belongings. The answer is, since it's lying around and he didn't put it away, there's an assumption, which means that a person doesn't mind his belongings being used for a mitzvah. If I see your car lying around, I can't just take your car for a drive. If I see your pen lying around, I can't just use your pen for no reason. I can't use your things for no reason. If you have something which is lying around, you didn't give any indication that I can't use it. It's not going to cause you any damage whatsoever. Then we take on that you wouldn't mind that I do a mitzvah with your belonging. Therefore, the halacha is, if you leave your tefillin in shul and I didn't put on tefillin today, I can put on your tefillin without asking you. Very, very interesting, because our thoughts are something which doesn't belong to me, don't touch. But you're right. In general, something which is not mine, I shouldn't touch. Something which belongs to someone else, you should keep your hands off. But in the situation where I am going to do a mitzvah with your belonging, and I have no other choice, and it's not going to be any damage for you whatsoever, and there's no indication that you mind, I am allowed to put on your tefillin, which is very interesting. So if you put your tefillin away on the shelf, then that shows you don't want it lying around. You don't want people just touching it. You don't need to get lost. You're more careful. So I can't come to shul and take a pair of tefillin which has your name on, which has been put away. But if something belongs to the shul, or something which is lying there on the shelf the whole year, the owner doesn't care about it, it's also maybe an indication that the person doesn't mind. But this is an interesting halacha, which we see similar, or the same thing, is if I rent your house for Pesach. I rent your house for Pesach, and I see that the chametz has not been put away. Hey, I have to do a mitzvah now. I have to start putting away Mr. Jacob's chametz. I have to start putting away in Pesach. It's going to cost me time. It's going to cost me money. It's going to cost me effort. No, but since a person is happy to do mitzvahs with his time and with his money, and therefore I have no right to be able to cancel cancel the contract. That is a very, very interesting halacha.
I think about Mr. Tefillin.
Yeah.
You can also lay the tefillin later if you're at home. There's nothing with it that you have to do the shachris.
You're right.
You can do the whole day.
You're right, 100%. That's why I especially said, in a situation where I won't be able to do the mitzvah today unless I put on this.
There's no problem. Later,
if I'm going to put on my tefillin at home, of course, I shouldn't be lazy on your cheshbon, 100%. But let's say it's 10 minutes before Shkia, or I'm traveling and I haven't got my tefillin.
Okay, there's something else. But normally, if you're at home, no problem.
100%. If I'm in shul and I can't be bothered going home to fetch my tefillin, of course not. You should get your tefillin, don't be lazy.
Yeah.
But if, we've had a few times. I remember when I was learning in Koilel, and there's sometimes people who travel. And once or twice they have like a stopover, and they realize they didn't have that tefillin with them. Either they didn't care, or what. Most people usually remember that tefillin. Okay, but sometimes you have a person who traveling without his tefillin, and now he comes into the Beis Medrash and he wants to put on tefillin today.
Yeah.
And he sees a pair of tefillin on the table, and there's no tefillin that belongs to the shul, which is public. So the halacha is he has no choice, and there's a pair of tefillin hanging around. He's allowed to put on a pair of tefillin. If he can get hold of the owner, we said he should call him up. If the tefillin are put away, then he can't use it. If it's in a cupboard, he can't use it. If he's not going to be careful with it, he's going to put it back in a different way or a different place, he also shouldn't do that. If it's not going to affect the owner at all, it's just putting it on and putting it off, and through that, another Jew has done a mitzvah of putting on tefillin today, then he has the right halachically to put it on without asking, which is very interesting, because usually you shouldn't touch someone else's thing without asking. Put on his tefillin. Oh, let's go back now to what Mr. Brach asked about esrog. If I come to shul and I have not got a lulav and esrog, and I see a lulav and esrog on the table, and I want to do the mitzvah today, and doesn't say any name of whose lulav and esrog it is, and the shul doesn't have a public one. It's a person's private lulav and esrog. It only has the initials, and Yom Tov, so I can't even call him up. Or I don't know who it is. Can I use or make a bracha? On the
No,
second
there's
day?
something else. It's in the Lulav and Esther, you're not allowed.
Why
It
not?
has to be yours.
That's the first day. What about the second day Yom Tov?
Second day Yom Tov?
Second day Yom Tov doesn't have to be
There's
lechem.
something else. Well, we have not the first Yom Tov.
Okay, first day Yom Tov, you're right. First day Yom Tov has to be mine, so I can't do it. 100% right. First day Yom Tov, the mitzvah, the lulav ulkachtem lochem, has to be yours. Second day Yom Tov, I walk into shul, I have not got lulav and esrog. I see one on the table. I want to do the mitzvah of Arba Minim today. I can't call you because it's Yom Tov, because I don't know where you live, whatever is lying on the table. Can I just pick up your lulav and esrog from the table, make a bracha, and do the mitzvah?
You can ask a problem. Somebody, the owner is here from this lulav, and you didn't get an answer. Then take it.
So you're saying it's the same as tefillin?
Yeah, you don't take it.
Oh,
there's no answer.
It could be that esrog, the more it's touched, the easier it gets ruined. It gets brown or it gets ruined. It's much easier damaged or much more delicate than a pair of tefillin putting on and putting off. You see that by your esrog, you hold it. The more people who use it, after a few days, it already it's not fresh anymore. Something which is much, much more delicate. So it could be that a person is more makpid, more careful about how many people touches esrog, or where esrog goes, than a pair of tefillin. If tefillin go on the hand, off the hand, it doesn't get ruined. A tefillin, esrog which is touched by many people, is much easier ruined. The freshness goes, it starts getting brown quicker. So there is a logic, a svara to say that a person is more makpid about his esrog than he is about his tefillin. So we haven't got an automatic understanding. Yeah, a person doesn't mind if his belongings is used for mitzvah. It could be esrog is more of a delicate thing. If it's more delicate, then it could be that you haven't got the automatic understanding that he doesn't mind. By tefillin, of course, tefillin is an expensive item. It costs you $1,000. But putting on and putting off is not going to have an effect on it as much as touching an esrog again. Esrog is something which only lasts for 6-7 days. After it starts getting less fresh. The more it's used, the quicker it gets less fresh. Imagine, like you see a public esrog, which goes from person to person to person to person. The more people that touch it, the more, the quicker it gets brown. A tefillin is something that you put on every day and it's for the rest of your life. So if a person puts on one day someone else's tefillin, then there's much less of a chance that a person is going to mind, because don't ruin my tefillin, it's being used. Then esrog. So we haven't got the self-understanding that a person doesn't mind as much by esrog as we would have by tefillin. So esrog is probably more of a question whether I could just pick up someone else on second day Yom Tov and make the bracha because the person won't mind. Tefillin is clearly brought down that if you have no other choice and there's no indication that the person minds and it's not put away and you put it back on the exact place where you took it from, halachically speaking, you are allowed to take your tefillin and make a bracha. You're making a bracha on someone else's tefillin. Okay? But what's the reason behind that? Because we take on nichele inish, a person is okay. That his belongings should be used for a mitzvah. Therefore, let's go back to I rent your house, Mr. Yaakov. So I walk into your house on Erev Yom Tov and I see your chomet around. I want to cancel the contract. Says the Gemara, you have no right to cancel the contract. I have to start putting away your whiskey. The answer is, you're right. But since by me putting away your whiskey, I'm doing a mitzvah because I am living in a house and I have obligation to make sure there's no whiskey around, even though it's not mine. Since what I'm doing is a mitzvah, so you have left me with a mitzvah. It wasn't the mitzvah I was looking for. I didn't ask you to please leave me a mitzvah to do. But since what I'm stuck with is a mitzvah, the same as we said, if you didn't come to fetch your whiskey from my house, I have a mitzvah to put it away. I didn't ask you to leave your mitzvahs by me. But I am stuck with it. Okay, I have to make sure now Pesach comes in, put the whiskey away, even though it's not my whiskey. The same thing is, if I rent your house and I'm stuck with your mitzvah, I have no right to cancel the contract because what I'm left with is a mitzvah. And a mitzvah, a person, even though I didn't ask for it, but a person has no right to cancel the contract based on the fact that he's left with a mitzvah to do. Okay, shkoyach everyone.
Yeah,
Wish
yeah.
nice...
I don't rent my house for place to you.
If you do, make sure you put away the whiskey.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about whiskey? Because whiskey actually not expired. So can you put it, if it's whiskey from of Mynheer Jacobs, for example, can you put it, storage it by the neighbors for a while, and then after the Pesach give it back to Mr. Jacobs?
Sure, as long as I don't have the chometz around, and I can put it by the neighbor. I can put it in the
You can also do it in a cupboard in my house.
Yeah,
Don't have to
I
be
should
the
own
neighbor.
chometz and I shouldn't have chometz around. So, and the chometz around is even if it's not mine. I should not have Mr. Yaakov's chometz on my table, even though it's not mine. So there's two things: not to own chometz and not to have chometz around.
But what does it mean around? For example, if you have a storage out in the garden,
No problem. But
can you put it there?
You can put it there as long as it's not where there's a chance that you might come to use it.
So you should
a few bottles of whiskey, and I don't know what the rest is on my table now.
Okay. Yes. Okay.
Put it out of the cupboard.
With either the lock or with the sellotape in a situation or in a place where there isn't a chance that you might come to use it.
No, it is chometz. You have to sell it.
To sell it, and you have to put it in your contract where you put it.
No. Max, exactly. I'm not about selling. So you cannot use it if you didn't. For example, if it's whiskey, it's not expired. Okay, you can have whiskey for years. Okay, so and you put it in a storage or by the neighbors. And after the Pesach, you
can't use it anymore.
No,
you have to sell it and to say my whiskey is at the storage at the neighbor.
You have
so
to sell
the contract.
Where it is. You're not allowed to own whiskey. You're allowed to own it, and even if I sold it, it shouldn't be around. Number one is to sell it. That you do not own it. Besides that, even if I sold it, don't leave it on your table.
No.
Because you can have whiskey in a situation where you can see it, but there's a chance you might come to touch it.
Is it clear?
Okay, a nice good Yom Tov, and everything should make sure your whiskey is sold and make sure there's no whiskey around.
Yeah, this is the contract, but I only have to put it away.
Put it away, exactly.
Make a better contract next time then.
Yeah, okay.
Waar zeg je?
Make a better contract next time then, because when two Jews are making a contract with the intention that one of them should go in the house the day before Pesach, then you should add some conditions to it, and then you don't have all these problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it's written clearly in the condition that there's not going to be a chometz around, okay, then I can cancel a contract.
I remember years ago we also went. Sometimes we went to the house for Pesach in Israel, and in the contract was written, the house is kosher Pesach. It was so.
Yes, correct. That's it.
Yeah.
That's where you pay for.
That I pay for. Okay.
Paul,
Yes.
no, Paul, I want to ask a question, but can you please afsluiten Facebook? Just Facebook uitsluiten. Je kan het. Probeer.
Ik druk alleen op lief ding. En
Nee. Je hoeft niet op lief te... gewoon even Facebook een keertje afsluiten. Probeer het. Want Rafors doet het ook. Je kan het doen. Kijk alsjeblieft.
Oké, ja, dankjewel iedereen.
Facebook afsluiten?
Facebook, yes, Facebook afsluiten. Dan...
Stop eens livestream.
Wait.
Cancel.
Wait a second.
No.
Still live on Facebook.
Wat?
No,
Okay, I'm going to iedereen.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Stop.
Bye.